What is up, everybody, and welcome to a live review on the Married with Media channel of
Hey
the
guys.
season finale of Mare of Easttown. I said that right?
Yes, you did.
Mare of Easttown. I know we got some flack in I think the very first one that we did
Mar,
about that we said Mar the entire episode, and people
right?
were like, "It's Mare, actually." But yeah,
But that's okay.
that's okay.
We
That's
appreciate
fine.
it.
How are you doing tonight, Michelle? I feel like I haven't seen you in forever.
I know, right? We only live together.
Yeah.
Yeah, doing good. Happy Memorial Day. I got
Happy
my
Ma-
I got my USA shirt on today.
Yeah, there you
So
go.
yeah,
I just have my Adidas shirt on today.
not
Um,
patriotic at all, but
but I do have my Rolling Rock here right now.
cheers.
And you have yours as well. But what we will say, we'll go ahead and let the cat out of the bag here. It's not beer in there. You're not a beer drinker. There's water in that bottle.
That is right. Ken thought we should have Rolling Rock, but I don't like beer, guys. So
She doesn't like beer.
he drank this. Don't worry, it wasn't wasted.
Yeah,
And
so
he put water.
I've been drinking Rolling Rock since probably like 2005, 2006.
Right,
It's been my beer of choice forever. So when I saw it show up in the show, I was like, "Oh my God, it's
right,
Rolling Rock!" It was probably the biggest cameo of the entire show for me, even
right.
bigger than Guy Pearce. So, we're doing a live breakdown, recap, reaction, whatever you want to call this, of the season finale, or is it series finale? Are they saying this is going to be the final?
I would just say series finale, yeah. So,
Yeah, I would think this is more like a limited series, but
yeah,
um,
should we quickly talk about what the hell happened last night when we were trying to watch the finale?
oh yeah, let's get into that because HBO Max took a big crap right when we
Yes,
were trying to get on there to watch, because we wanted to do the reaction right after the show went off. That was the plan.
right, right.
And then we didn't get started watching it till like 11, or not 11, but like 10:40 maybe, 10:30,
Yeah,
10:40.
10:30, something like that, yeah.
And we got two kids, and they can't stay up all night. Otherwise, we're just bad parents. So when we got done watching it about 11:45, it was too late to go live at
It
that
was too late
point.
to go
So
live. We really
um,
wanted to, but because it's more exciting when it's like fresh and you've just watched it. But at that
yeah,
point, Ken, he had also just worked. So
yeah.
we were tired and ready to go to bed. And so here we are now, though.
Yeah, I mean, I used to go live on Sunday nights on my other channel, but like I would go live at 9:30, not 11:30.
Right.
So it's a little
Yes.
bit of a difference there. But
So yeah,
I don't know.
HBO Max.
Hopefully gave some people some time to watch the episode if they didn't get to
Right.
watch it right away last night. Because I know a lot of people probably didn't watch it if they were having trouble with it.
Right. So yeah, you said that it took a crap, but that means that it crashed.
Yes,
You didn't
that's
really
what I meant.
clarify what that meant. Yeah, it
That's
like
what I meant.
crashed, and I honestly think it was because everybody was trying to watch the show. I think that it was like just like it, I guess it was way more anticipated than they thought. So,
Yeah, I really don't know. You wouldn't think that it would be that big of a show. And I guess it kind of is a big show, but it's not like Game of Thrones. It's not like
right,
other big shows on HBO. So I don't think it has that drawing power that those did. But I don't know. This is a
right.
different service. This is HBO Max. This might
Yeah,
be the biggest show that's been.
it could have been a coincidence, but anyway.
Yeah, and then like you said, I think when we were watching it last night, there's the Friends reunion
Right.
that was going on as
And
well.
plus, last night, like a lot of people may have had off today, and so they were staying up later than they normally would, maybe. And
Yeah, there's a lot of factors, and who knows if
so,
we'll ever
yeah,
know. I didn't really look into it today, but
right.
we're here tonight to talk about this
Yes.
show, guys, and we're going live. We're talking about live, so if you're gonna join us tonight in the chat, feel free. I put a little message in the comment section. You can leave your thoughts in there. We'll get to your comments when we can. I don't anticipate a ton of people joining us live, but if you watch on the replay, if you could give us a like, we'd appreciate it. Also, subscribe to this channel. If this is your first time discovering us, we
Yes,
appreciate
please
that as
do.
well. And drop us a comment down below. What was your thoughts on the finale? What was your thoughts on the series as a whole? But let's
Right.
get into this episode and break it wide open. So this is going to be spoiler heavy across the board. So if anybody's
Right.
in here, if anybody watches the replay, just know this is spoiler filled. This is how we do these reviews. We have to talk about them. We don't know how to not talk
Yes.
about them with tons and tons of spoilers. So
Right.
do you, what, let's get into your overall thoughts on this episode. Going into it, it was about an hour, 7 minutes long, I think.
Yeah, I think it was hour 6.
How did you feel about this episode being the conclusion to this series by the time we got to the end?
So I felt like, overall, they kind of wrapped everything up in a nice little bow. I felt like um, I feel like they went back to every little like detail or storyline and kind of, gave us a conclusion to it for the most part. There may be some that I'm not remembering about, but yeah, overall, I think that it was a good finale. But I don't know if I would say that it was like amazing or anything.
Yeah. The problem with this show, and I wouldn't even call it a problem, it's just you have certain expectations, but it
Right.
kind of leads you into believing it's going to set up this very compelling murder mystery. There's going to be a lot of moving parts, and there's going to be a lot of surprises and twists and turns. We pretty much called out most of the twists and turns during our regular review series, would you say?
Right. Yeah, me for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you especially, like, you, I mean, I don't know if we want to get into deep spoilers right now, but
Yeah,
you
we don't
called the
have
kid.
to.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
called
like
the kid right
let's
off the
not
bat. But
skip. Yeah, let's not
yeah, we
skip
won't, we
ahead
won't
here.
skip. We won't skip. But this show is two different things. One, it's trying to set up this very compelling murder mystery, draw you in that way, and then it's setting up
Right.
this very deep, emotional kind of family journey drama
Yeah.
with Kate Winslet and her struggles and all that. And by the time we got to this finale, it became very clear to me that this finale didn't have any interest in the murder mystery anymore. It had way more of an interest in just Mare as a character and her family drama
True.
and her
Yeah.
personal struggles. So if
Right.
you look at it from that standpoint, I think the finale was a hit. I think it was successful in accomplishing its goals of what it became clear to me what it was with the series when it began.
Yeah, that's true. Now that you say that, that makes it a little better for me. So yeah.
But the problem with that is that it did set up this very compelling murder mystery. It did
Right.
draw you in that way,
Right.
and you kind of have to deliver on that at least a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm not saying that it didn't. It just, to me, I don't know. It was a little lackluster. There was something missing there. There was something missing there.
Right. And it didn't help that we had the issue with HBO Max. I mean, you could say that like built the anticipation a little bit more, but I don't know, it kind of didn't. I was kind of like over it, like, come on, why won't this work? And
Yeah,
um,
it
so
does
yeah.
feel that way sometimes. When you're really anticipating something, you get set back like 40 minutes. It just kind of
Right.
deflates it a little bit. But
Right.
we do
Because,
have,
we're on the East Coast, so it
yeah,
doesn't come on until 10 o'clock for us, which for us old people, that's late. Well, for me anyway.
for you it is. I
That's
usually
like
stay up like
almost
2
past my
anyway.
bedtime.
Yeah, we do
So
have
yeah.
somebody in the chat here I want to call out real quick. Irish Bauer is in here. He says that I like the twist, but hated how the show ended. Just walking up to the attic was a little boring.
Yeah.
I think the ending in on the brother playing with the baby in jail would have been perfect. Yeah, what do you think about that? Did you like
Yeah.
that closure at the end with her going up to the attic?
So, I mean, I know what they were trying to do. She had that like final scene with her therapist, and her therapist was like, do you feel like you're ready to, deal with the grief of your son? And, we kind of got to see her through these therapy sessions, grow a little bit and realize that she does need to address these things and grieve them properly and all of that kind of stuff. And so I do think that we got to see Mare kind of heal. Heal? Hill.
Yeah, that's right.
Um,
Hill.
uh, very slowly but surely. And so, I seeing her walk up in the attic, I thought it was fine, but I also am not really quite sure that like going to the place where your kid killed himself is really, I don't know, dealing with it. I mean, I don't know. It doesn't completely work for me because, when they said, "Have you been back up there yet?" I'm kind of like, well, why would you want to? Like, I
Yeah.
don't know. How do you feel about that?
I thought it was fine. I didn't feel any
Yeah.
particular way. It felt very kind of cliche and like what
Yeah.
a lot
Yeah.
of movies and stuff like this would do to kind of close it, to tie everything up in a
Right.
nice
Yeah.
little bow.
It does seem pretty on the nose, I guess.
Yeah, and that was with a lot of things in this episode. They were trying to tie everything up in a nice little bow.
Right.
This is very much like, and I would say this pretty much solidifies the fact that I don't think there will be a season two. Even
No.
if you thought that there would be at some point, because sometimes with the limited series, they still, if it's really popular, they'll bring it back.
Right.
The way they
I
try to
mean,
bring up, I don't know what you do. I don't know where you go.
yeah, I mean, as much as, you could do her, doing different cases or something, but as
But
much as I
again,
enjoyed it,
that's not what the show was about. It was about her and her personal story. By the time we got to the end of it, so yeah, you could do another case, but
yeah,
then
but I'm saying if they really wanted to make
yeah,
another
yeah,
season, they could go that way. But like, I just really hope they don't. I think that this was good as just a limited series, and I hope to see Kate Winslet in some more stuff.
definitely. I mean, that's the biggest takeaway from this. Is
Right,
she was on another level in this show. She was absolutely fantastic. But
right,
let's go ahead and walk through the show, and we'll kind of
yeah,
give our thoughts piece by piece. So we'll start at the beginning. This picks up right where the last episode left off.
right.
And the episode title is Sacrament. Does that mean anything to you when you hear it?
It doesn't. I'm gonna be honest. I know that word, but I can't remember what it means.
Yeah, I mean it's religious terminology, but it's
Okay,
I didn't look into what it meant, so
okay,
I was just putting you on the spot right there for fun.
that's
But
that's fine.
let's see, we got Irish Bauer said, my wife and I just felt so bad for the baby. Someone just loved that baby.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
sad.
the baby does deserve love. All babies.
We we were talking about like how dysfunctional of a family. Well, we're skipping ahead. But
Yeah,
at the
it's
end,
fine. It's fine.
who
This
the
is full
baby
spoilers.
who the baby ends up with, I'm like, can you imagine explaining all of that to this baby when he gets older? Like that is
Yeah,
just messed up. But anyway.
it was crazy. Let me add this in here real quick, so anybody that joins late will know. Spoiler. I guess I could edit that. But yeah, we open up the show with Kate Winslet tracking down Billy and John
Right,
down by
she's
the
making her
creek,
way down to
uh,
the river, the creek.
exactly where we left off. Um, and she finds both of them. You know, Billy's fishing, John's sitting up there with the toolbox. He looks in it. He gets the gun out. He goes up behind him. Then you can tell he doesn't really want to shoot him. Um,
Right.
but so you don't. So in that moment, like I thought, okay, well maybe he's not the cold-hearted killer that we may have speculated that he was. There's something else going on there. He does love his brother, but his intentions
Who,
are to shoot
John?
yeah, his
Gotcha.
intentions are to shoot and kill him right there. So they struggle, go back and forth, and then Billy's like, "Shoot me!" He wants to die. Apparently, he wants him to. And then at one
Well,
point,
we got that. Yeah, we got that whole scene where they were both just like begging one another to kill each other,
yeah,
and I was like, what is going on? Because I had thought, we had thought in the last episode that they were pretty much telling us everything, and that Billy had killed her. It seemed very obvious. We were kind of hoping that like there was going to be a twist to it, and that it wasn't really him, because it would be like, why are you telling us this already when
yeah,
there's another episode still? So anyway, once we, got to this finale and we are seeing them down by the creek, and we're getting the suspicion that something, John is involved in everything, and I see this other side of Billy. I don't know, just when I saw him down there, like I thought to myself, you know what, maybe he's actually not as bad of a guy as I thought he was.
and it
It's
turns
just
out he's
funny how they,
probably the most innocent one of all of them.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, I thought, if he didn't kill her, I thought that he was for sure the father of the baby, but that didn't end up being true either. So, I mean, honestly, well, we later find out that he did help.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I said,
And we
it's so
don't.
hard not to skip ahead, but
No, we can skip ahead. Sometimes it's easier to tell the story that way or to
yeah.
talk about it in that way. But yeah, you don't see anything of Billy after this scene, right? Like I don't feel like we don't meet up with Billy again after the creek scene. I feel like this is the last we get of him.
No, we don't. You're right.
And I'm just assuming that he went to jail as well for helping hide the body.
Yeah,
Um,
because it talks about how John and Billy apparently like went to hide Aaron's body. So like obviously he was involved, and so he would have to go to jail or prison or whatever. So
yeah, but
yeah,
I
I
mean,
guess they felt like it wasn't important enough to spend any time on. I don't know.
yeah, in this scene, it did feel a little bit goofy at the time, but it did make sense by the time we got to the end that they both would be very apologetic and both in a very bad place over this and feeling
Yeah,
very bad about it because neither one of
right,
them did the act, but they had to kind of clean up the mess. And it
right,
was their niece, and in John's case, he said he loved Aaron. So,
right. Which,
it,
can we talk about that?
yeah, if you want to, because that's pretty much going into the next scene. We'll get through this real quick because Mayor comes
Yeah,
out there. She confronts him. They have a little standoff, and
she
then
like breaks it up.
yeah, she takes John down, handcuffs him, takes him in, and that's when they get into the interrogation scene, which we can now talk about.
Right.
So, yeah, what do you want to say about the relationship with John and Aaron?
So that was like one of the problems that I had with this episode, because up until this point, like we did not know that, the picture, right? They showed us a picture at the end of episode 6, and we didn't get to see what was on it. Well, we got to see what was on that picture this episode, and that happened at the beginning too, didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, so we see that it's a picture of Erin, and she is in bed with John, and it's a picture from when they had that family reunion and they were like all camping, or they had cabins or something. So anyway, that picture made it seem very clear that it was in fact John that was the father of the baby. And yeah, so going back to their relationship, when John was talking about how the relationship, Mare and them are like, and what do you call it when you're interrogating him?
Yeah.
She's like, tell me about this relationship. When did it start? She wanted all the details. And when he was just talking about the relationship with her, how old was she? Do you remember?
I mean, I assume that she had graduated high school, maybe. But I guess it's possible that she was still in high school.
Yeah, she was still in high school because remember Frank had a math class with her.
Yeah, but I mean, was that before she had the baby? Like, how old was she? She was probably like 17. Probably
She
17
was still young. Yeah, and I mean Frank, he was probably like what, in his 40s or something?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And so anyway, he was just talking about how they bonded and were there for one another and understood what each other was going through because they had like family problems and stuff. And I don't know, one, it grossed me out.
Yeah.
And because, like, can we talk about how they're like related? Like, they're related.
Yeah, very Game of Thrones.
So yeah, they're like overstepping a few boundaries. Like, they're related. She's probably underaged, and even if she isn't underage, like their age gap is still, kind of pretty gross, basically.
Yeah,
And
it's
so
obviously wrong. It's not a romance we should be like
right.
celebrating or be sympathetic
So
towards.
yeah, I just didn't buy that they would, because the little bit of Erin's character that we did get to see before she got murdered, I don't know, I just didn't buy that they would have this, such a deep connection, and it was just weird to me, but that's just me.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. But yeah, then we're going into God, where do we go from here? So she arrests John, but then we find out that this is probably the thing that Mare got the most upset about, the fact that she figured out that Lori had lied to her um,
Right.
about Billy being the one to murder Aaron.
Right.
So once that became apparent to Mare, she looked very down, very upset, very distraught about that.
Right.
But after that, like it felt weird when we were watching it because I knew that we weren't that far in. I knew that we were like 15,
Right.
20
Like at
minutes,
one point we paused it and I'm like, oh my gosh, there's still a lot left.
and it felt like they solved it. Like there was nothing left. And then after that, they kind of go on a like Mare, I don't know, world tour of like reconciling her differences with everybody. And she gets together with Richard and they have sex, and then Richard goes back to the college again. Then she makes up with Frank, and then she receives an apology from Faye, and then there's closure with her and Siobhan, and then Faye, the mother is what I meant. She receives the apology from the mother about how she treated her when she was a kid.
Oh, yes, yes.
And then you got closure with her and her daughter, and then custody of Drew. She gets custody of Drew because Carrie's apparently using again. And
Yeah, which I called that too. You know, when they showed that whole bath scene in episode 6, I told you,
yeah,
I'm like, watch, she's gonna end up saying, I can't take him, I can't handle it. And sure enough, that's what happened.
that's exactly what happened. You pinned the nail
Right.
on the head there. So yeah, it felt like the last 10 minutes of a season. Like it felt like the last 10 minutes. And then we look and there's like 37 minutes left. So we're like, what
Right.
else is going to happen? That this case
Right.
cannot be closed. There's got to be something else. And sure enough, there's something else. Mare can't
Right.
shake the feeling that John is hiding something. He's not telling the complete truth, that there's something going on with Lori, there's something going on with the story. So she
Right.
continues to investigate and to question, and that's when they find out about the gun. She
Yeah, so
goes to,
they're asking John more details about the gun, and he couldn't really tell him any details about it. And so, you know, Mare's like he should know this kind of stuff if he used the gun.
yeah, exactly.
So
And then that's when they go to the old man's house, the husband of the old lady that passed away, the guy that was cheating on or
right, it
having
just
an
so
affair
happens
with
that
Mayor's
he had
mother.
called. Yeah, he had just so happened to call Mare to come over
Yeah.
because he had something he wanted to say.
Yeah. Now I don't even remember what that was. Do you?
Well, it was to tell about the gun, but while she was
Oh, okay.
there, she you know, she noticed that, you know, since his wife has passed away, that he's clearly struggling because he's got like plates of old food laying around, and they kind of have a little moment of you know, they've both lost someone that they've loved. And the man kind of asked Mare, does it get any easier? And she said no, but you learn how to somehow deal with it, basically.
Yeah.
And so I thought that was a nice little moment. But then she's like, so, you know, why did you call me over here? It was kind of like a little, you know, it was like a side
Yeah.
thing what they talked about. And he was like, oh yeah, that's right, because he was kind of like scatterbrained anyway, because you know he said he hasn't been able to do anything right since his wife passed away.
Yeah.
So he's like, oh yeah, that's right. I had a gun in my garage or little shed out back, and I noticed that it was gone. And then when I went back out again later, it was back. And she was like, well, what kind of gun was it? And of course, he says, which we probably should have looked this up, but he says that it's the gun that,
It was some kind of revolver. I just can't remember the name. But
yeah, it was
it
like
was an older,
an
like a
old
Colt.
gun. Yeah.
It was a
They're
Colt
like,
special or something, I think.
right. Like it was basically a gun that not very many people at all would have. And so I think he said that he got to keep it when he was in the service or something.
Yeah, somebody correct us in the chat because we do have 5 people in there watching.
Oh, awesome.
What was the gun? If you guys know, let us know. But
It was
let's
like
bring up some of some of the chat because we got some people in here. We got Susan's mom, Bonnie, in here. What is up,
Hey,
Bonnie?
Bonnie.
She says, it was a real good twist. Didn't see that coming.
I wish
yeah.
I didn't see it coming.
Yeah, I wish. I mean, I probably wouldn't have if you weren't there. You see a lot of
Right.
things coming that I don't sometimes.
I don't know
Because I'm a
why,
big
but
dummy. Bonnie Festa says, we thought that Mary's best friend was going to be the killer. I thought that for a
he thought
second.
that too.
I
Yeah,
thought
he
that for a
did.
second. I said, oh, they're getting ready to reveal that it's
And
Lori.
also on a previous video that we did for a review, somebody had commented, and that was one of their guesses too, was
Yeah,
that
there was
she
all
was
kinds of speculation of that.
right.
And then Bonnie says, I thought the baby should be put up for adoption. Yeah, probably in that. But really, I don't know. Maybe in a different
I
state,
know
put it up for adoption. Don't put it up for adoption in Easttown. Don't let it
it
go to another
is
Easttown family.
it is crazy that like they would just get custody of him like that after all of
Yeah,
the
and I just don't know how. Did they have a scene where the parents of the boy gave him up? Because I thought
no.
they were all about keeping him. I thought they were all
The
about
only
keeping
time
baby.
that we got to see the not baby daddy's parents was the scene in the church, and that was it.
Yeah.
You know how we got that scene in the church?
Yep, I do remember that. Pablo Cancela, so I'm sorry if I'm saying your name wrong. It says, good night, joining right now. Final episode was good, but definitely the weakest episode to me. The kid being the killer was low-key boring twist.
You know what? I'm going to just say it. I agree.
Yeah. Do you think it was the weakest episode? Do you think it was the weakest episode?
I'm not going to say that it was the weakest episode, but
I think we'd have to think about all the episodes because
but it wasn't my favorite.
As far as what I'm scoring it, I know right now it's not my personal weakest episode.
Yeah.
I think my personal weakest episode is probably episode 5.
Which was the one that I really liked.
Not episode 5, the last one, the one before last week's episode. Because episode 5 was the one with Evan Peters' death.
Okay.
And I thought that was a good one. So.
Gotcha.
But yeah, it's I don't know if it was a boring twist. To me, it didn't feel like a twist. It didn't feel like a twist. It felt like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
So yeah, let's keep going with that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say I forget what we were talking about.
Bonnie said cult special. He got to keep it from retiring the force, and then Bonnie said the finale let her down as well. So that is all I got from the chat. You can resume if you've got any other thoughts about that scene.
Well, I can't remember what we were talking about. Oh, we were talking about
the old
when
man
he was talking about the gun. Yeah.
Yeah.
So she, he has the old man. They had got that security system set up, and so Amir goes over. She checks the footage from the night that she knows Aaron was murdered, and sure enough, there is dun 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 Ryan, which is John's son, and. I think I remember, I don't know if you remember, but I kind of looked over at you and I'm like, really?
Did they show footage of Ryan getting in the shed before? I feel like we saw footage of that in earlier episodes.
No, we saw that one neighbor that like bugged the old woman.
Okay, so it wasn't
two different things.
Okay, because I felt like, did we see that entire thing of him going in the shed in earlier episodes and still nobody picked up on that? Because that would have been something else. But
well, now that I'm thinking about it, I guess I can't say like 100% sure that, because remember that whole episode where she like deleted it? Mira deleted the footage because she was like, I don't have time for this shit. Like, you guys are having some petty problems and I've got a murder to deal with. And so I thought that it was just that one kid that lived behind them. That was always bothering the old woman.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I could be wrong. But yeah, so we get to see Ryan get into the shed. He has a key because he mows the old man's lawn every summer. And so he had seen the gun in there. And so I guess we should talk a little bit about why Ryan wanted to kill, or he says he didn't mean to do it, but we need to talk about like how Ryan got involved, why this happened, and what how he got there.
Do you want to break that down? You want to break that down for us?
So basically, we know from, I think, another episode that John had had an affair before. And so basically, he's a piece of crap. And whenever it happened in the past, it really affected Ryan, which, it should. That kind of stuff is really hard on kids. And so I guess he remembered the behavior that his dad did when he had the affair before. And so anyway, I think he started seeing his dad act, in the same behavior again. And he kind of, I think he ended up like reading some text or something. I think that's how he found out about it. He had gotten to his dad's phone and he saw that, his dad and Aaron were forming a relationship. And so he kind of threatened his dad with, telling him that he needed to end it. And basically his dad didn't listen. And so Ryan got into his phone again and acted like he was John and said that he was going to meet Aaron at the park, which is the night that she got murdered. And yeah.
Does that motivation track for you? Does that feel in line with how a 13-year-old boy would feel?
So yeah, that's another issue that I had. So not only do I just not buy that this Ryan kid would do this, I know that when he's talking about it, he says that he didn't mean to kill her, that he was just trying to scare her. But I don't know. I just didn't buy it, that he would care that much, I guess. And so, they showed the scene, like that whole scene, like annoyed the crap out of me for some reason. I don't know if it did you or not, but when they showed the like flashback of him and Aaron at the park and he's like hiding and then he comes out and he's like holding the gun up and he's like, stay away from my family and all that kind of stuff.
It seemed
And
a
I
little
was just
extreme.
like,
and
yeah.
Like,
and then
the kid has some serious problems if he gets that upset about that. Like I can get him upset when like, I don't want to like reveal a bunch of stuff about our personal lives, but like me and you both come from like broken homes where things like that occurred. And could you imagine getting that upset as a kid over that kind of thing, that you would want to go murder somebody over it?
No, I mean, yes, I would feel that way.
It just feels a little bit extreme.
I mean, I could imagine being like very upset at your parent.
Yeah, like
feeling a different way about
emotion.
them, but
yeah, but I could feel the emotion of it, but like there's something, I don't know, something doesn't fully come together for me as far as like the writing. It's not that,
me either.
It's not the fact that a kid did it. It's okay, but like if his only motivation was, I'm upset that my daddy was cheating on my mom with this girl, who he's related to, by the way, like that girl was his family as well. So does he not care about her? It's not some, I don't know. It all felt very, very strange, and it didn't entirely track for me.
Yeah. So, we get to see the whole scene and like Aaron, she's older. And so they kind of like wrestle, she's trying to get the gun from him, telling him to calm down, and then it accidentally goes off. And yeah, that's how it happened.
Yeah, and I mean they had that scene in the middle, I think like episode 5, maybe with the kid and the girl with Down syndrome, his sister, right? Like she's a sister.
I don't know if it's
making fun
like
of her, and then he gets real angry, and it's like, I get that scene, like getting angry in that scene, but I know they're trying to show like the range of emotions and how he can snap, like that.
They were trying to show, at that time he had killed Aaron, and he's got a lot of anger in him because he's having to keep this inside.
Yeah.
So I think that that's what they were trying to show. They were just trying to show that he's dealing with what he's done.
Yeah. Let me get into the chat once again, because we got some other people commenting. Pablo said, and they treated the boy like a victim. Come on, he shot a girl. That's heavy. That is very heavy. I mean, I understand he's a kid. I mean, and say what you want about the final closing minute, because I was having conflicting feelings as well. I was like, should Mare just let this go because it is her friend? But then again, it's like the kid's got problems, so it's better that he gets help now and turns around this behavior than to live with this. Like,
well, yeah, I said that.
Yeah.
I was like, why would Lori, she had that like, and I mean, I get it as being a mother. Like, I will say that this show, like, so many times would like play on the mom card.
Yeah.
And like just pull those like heartstrings, because like just being a mom myself.
Understand what Lori was going through. You would do the exact same thing. And
Like
I would as well.
Just so many different times with Mare, and like just when you put yourself into that position, like you could feel it, like if it had happened to you. And I just so many times, I was like about to start crying. But yeah, that whole scene where Lori was like, why couldn't you just leave him alone? Like they had John, like why did you have to bring him into this? And I could
already sacrificed one person for this. Like,
right.
Make me sacrifice two.
And it's like I could feel Lori's pain, and like there was a part of me that like understood, but then there was another part of me where I'm like, yeah, but you just can't do that. And like I said, you can't just act like your son never killed anyone. Like he's going to be so mentally messed up if you want to just brush it under the rug and act like it never happened. Like, are you going to get this kid therapy, or like, how are you going to deal with this? Because acting like it didn't happen is not the way to go.
Yeah. So, I mean, in that moment, like you could just feel both sides. Like you could identify with Mare and what she was trying to do. And ultimately she was in the right. And then you could also identify with Lori. And we had those similar feelings when we watched Defending Jacob.
Right.
Because it goes into the similar themes. I know there were some people joking about that, how this kind of felt like Defending Jacob.
Right.
The ending of it. But yeah, the idea that
kid killers, it's all the rage.
Kid did something just horrible and you have to cover it up as a parent. And it's something it's a very real feeling. And it's something that I don't know how I would handle the situation.
I know. Yeah. It's crazy to think about, but
Bonnie also said the age difference was creepy. It definitely was creepy, Bonnie. Pablo also said, I knew he was young, but not everyone would shoot someone because she is dating her father. I knew they wanted to shock everyone with a twist, but he had little to no excuse to kill her.
Agreed.
Yeah, I mean, he had an excuse, but it was a very thin one. It just didn't completely add up for me. Pablo said, yeah, exactly. That was completely out of character. He looks like a sweet, innocent kid, but then goes to the woods and murders someone who dates his father. Yeah, I agree.
Right.
It just seems like out of the normal behavior for a kid.
And like, I mean, not to be like picky or whatever, but like honestly, I just didn't feel like that kid acted very well. Like when he was trying to like cry and act distraught, like he couldn't even like muster up some fake tears. And I'm like, dude, I already don't believe that you would do this, but like even more so because you're not acting very good.
I did think he delivered one line particularly well when he gets back to the house, and it kind of hit me pretty strong when he was like, Mare knows
like they
she's
know
on her way. And I was like, oh, damn, shit's about to go down. Like, I felt like he delivered that very well. But beyond that, yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Yeah. So.
Which we can get into that. So then after the scene, more investigating the scene with the guy at the house, then she goes to the baseball field where he's practicing. I think it's baseball, right? He's playing baseball. And then he sees
basketball.
Was it basketball? So he sees
he's
her
on the court.
He sees her up there, and then he immediately jumps the fence, runs all the way home, and then sees his mom, and then
then that whole scene, like that whole, like, I don't know how long that was, but the whole thing of Mare going back to her car, getting on her, what do you call those? Radio?
I don't know what they're called. The walkie-talkie.
The radio. I think it's just a radio, like the car radio, in her car, and she's like, I've got a runaway. He's wanted for attempted murder, or I don't know what she said. But then you can just see Mare, like she, like she's struggling like we did, like on one hand, she is so
she's definitely thinking to herself, should I let this go or should I proceed?
Well, like, you know that scene where she's looking at the footage and she sees that it's him. Did you notice that sound that she made? She was kind of like, oh, like
Mhm.
she made this like kind of cry out a little bit where she was like, oh my gosh. So I was like, she was so happy and relieved probably, but on the other hand, she knew that this was her best friend's son, and she's like she's put in this position, and she's like, I can't believe this. And so yeah, the whole thing was just like that part gave me goosebumps because, and you know, the whole scene where they're all on the way to the house and you see Lori grab her son and she's hugging him and he's sobbing and Mare's
Yeah.
like walking up to the door, like that whole thing, that did like really affect me
Yeah, it was
and made me
very,
emotional.
you see in that moment, like why they did something like this, like because of all that stuff that spawned from it, was really effective, compelling, like family drama stuff.
Yeah,
Um,
it's so so many
it's so
like
messed up, but there's just so many layers of
right.
emotion there. But again, like just the kid, I wish they would have done more with establishing a better motivation for the kid to be a killer, or just better precedent, besides just him smacking a kid in the back with a lunch tray, in the
Well, yeah,
cafeteria.
I mean it's I just wanted to quickly say too, though, I can't remember what episode it was, but I had kind of talked about how, well, what if he did it? Ryan, you know, I had guessed that he might have done it because they had that whole scene where he went into the bedroom of his parents and they had the TV on and they had all those girls on the TV and he kind of looked at it. He just looked at it weird. And so that was like the first time that I thought that he might have been involved. And then that whole, this is going to be our little secret. And, you know, they tried to cover it up with, oh, it was because he caught John having an affair again.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
yeah, an affair with Aaron.
yeah.
And, you know, he killed
In that
Aaron.
scene,
And
was that John? That was John with Ryan in the room. That wasn't Billy,
yes,
right? Okay, because I
nope.
couldn't remember for so long. And that's another thing that's kind of, uh, kind of felt a little bit off to me. The whole show, the cousins felt like in the background up until we got to like episode 6, and they kind of took the forefront. So for the longest time, I just kind of saw them as the same person. They were the cousins of Kenny. They didn't feel like important characters of the show at all.
Really? Yeah,
Yeah,
see, I
that was
felt
just my perspective. Yeah.
yeah, I felt like I don't know, I felt like they were important because they were like on my radar from the beginning. I know you had
Yeah, they were on your radar
randos.
from the
You
very
have
beginning. Like I had the
you could
priest
not
on there
be
because they
you
weren't in
could
the
not be a
forefront.
detective.
Yeah, that exactly. You're just like Mary. Get your
I'm
e-cig
on
and
it,
your
you
and your
know. I
rolling rock and
investigate.
get out there by the water and
You
do some
said
investigating.
right. You said that you were at Best Buy at 2 o'clock, but I don't think you were.
um, yeah, so I was way off. The priest, I had Guy
You
Pearce
kept
on
saying Guy
there.
Pearce.
I
I'm like,
had
get out of here. It
I
is
had
not
Frank
him.
on there. Like
Uh,
those are like, well, I mean, those are the people that were in the forefront of the show for like the first 4 or 5 episodes.
Yeah,
And
but
then
you just kept saying that, well, it's always got to be somebody that's like front and center and you would never guess it. And I'm like,
yeah,
no, not always.
so it's like the cousins. They were in the scene with Kenny, which we didn't even get any more of Kenny. The
Well, we got to
dad.
see him. Or wait, no, we didn't. We
No,
got
we
to see
didn't
the
see him.
priest in jail. I was
Yeah,
thinking we saw.
we saw the priest.
Yeah,
We didn't get any more of Kenny, and then so yeah, we saw them in the scene with him, how they were consoling him after Aaron's death, and all that just felt natural. It felt right. Like I didn't suspect any of them in that scene with him. And
right.
then we kind of go through the rest of the show. We're kind of focused on Zabel, Evan Peters. Which can we talk about that real quick? How like
Well, you
they
might.
didn't
You.
even.
I was gonna say you might want to go to the chat because I know some people
Yeah,
had some questions, but
I'll get to him. But Evan Peters, like they just didn't even mention him in this episode again. Like just
oh yeah, it was
nothing.
like
It just feels like
he
he
was not
faded from
important at all.
existence, and he wasn't even. And he was like one of the most important parts of the show to us for like the first. Well, he wasn't in the first episode, but 2 through 5.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, as much as I enjoy him, and I thought it would have been cool if he had made it to the end, I'm not really sure.
There was no place for him in this story. In the
Well,
story that they wanted to tell, there was no place for him. By the time they got
I'm
to the
not
end, like
really,
where would he have fit in?
Well, yeah, I'm not really quite sure what place he had ever to begin with. You know what I mean? Like, honestly, he
Yeah.
didn't even need to, maybe what they were trying to do as I'm thinking about it, maybe having him come in and, having him like try to like, maybe it was to like soften her up because he kind of brought out like her more playful side. So maybe that was kind of the point of his
Well,
character
you
was
could
to kind
argue,
of,
wasn't that Guy Pearce's role as well? Like he was doing the same thing. I don't know.
yeah, I don't
Maybe
know. I
maybe
mean,
that was
maybe Evan
Guy
Peters
Pearce's
just
role in
needed
like
some
her
work.
personal, yeah, her personal life maybe was Guy Pearce, and then her professional life was Evan Peters.
I don't know.
But yeah, let's get to the chat. We got Irish Bauer says, if they would turn the kid in, how many people would be out of jail? The husband would be in jail and the son, but the father and brother, how is the mom not in trouble? Yeah, I think I was having that question too where we were watching it.
Right.
How does
Yeah, she
she,
said
not
that.
only does she not go to jail, but she gets to keep that kid, which we've already talked about
Right.
before. Like that
Right.
doesn't
That
make any
makes
sense
no
at all.
sense. No.
Yeah. And I halfway thought that when Mare gets in the car with Lori and, Lori was pushing her away and stuff and telling her, get the hell out of my car, I thought that Mare was going to arrest her in that moment. Did you think
No.
anything like that was going to happen?
No.
Because why would she get in the car? She knew Lori was pissed at her.
It's
That was
because
not the right time to get in that car. So she got in that car and they, had the scene or whatever. She pushing her out of the car. I thought Mare was going to arrest her.
no. I didn't think that. I just think, it's been her best
I
friend
thought
for
she,
so long.
yeah, yeah. And that's what it was. That's what it
Yeah.
ended up being. But I thought Mare was going to turn and be like, I'm really sorry, Lori, but I got to put these cuffs on you. And then that whole scene was going to play out. But yeah, I don't know how the mom's not in trouble. I really don't. It also said father of the kill and their brother would not be in jail. Father of the killer and their brother would not be in jail. Yeah. I guess. Okay, I guess you're saying the father of the killer wouldn't be in there. Killed daughter. Sorry, trying to watch kids and type not going well for me.
Hey, I
I
feel you.
definitely understand that. Pablo says, maybe I missed something, but what was the whole thing with Jack following Aaron's friend? Previous episode threatening her with a gun. They completely ignored that, right?
Yeah. Yeah, they pretty much did.
Yeah, because I mean, who's Jack again? Tell me who's Jack. Is that the boy? Is that the baby, not baby daddy?
Or wait, I think you mean his name's Dylan, isn't it?
Yeah, I thought it was Dylan. The whole
I
thing
think
with
it's
Jack
Dylan. If you're talking
following
about the
Aaron's friend.
not baby daddy, the one with the like longer hair and
Yeah, I think that's Dylan. And threatening her with a gun, they completely ignored that, right? Yeah, it's. I mean, he was threatening her with a gun because she took the photo, or she had some of the
well,
diary.
maybe yeah, I don't know if it was because I mean they already knew that the baby wasn't his. So I'm
I
not
think
really
that
sure. Maybe he was just afraid that something would be in there that didn't paint him in the best
I think
light and he
that
was
I think he was confused as to why she would be continuing to go to the police. Like I guess he thought she
right.
was ratting on him or something, but that's not really what she was doing. She just wanted him
Yeah.
to see that
But
photo.
while we're talking about Dylan, I did want to say that even though I thought he was a piece of shit, I did enjoy the scene where he came over to Lori and gave that money for the
Yeah.
baby. I thought that was nice.
To me, it seemed I did like the scene too. To me, it seemed a little bit out of character for Dylan to do that, but
A little bit.
again, it could have been an arc. It could have been an arc. I didn't think there was a lot of precedent for it, but it was a nice moment and a nice scene, and I was
Because
glad that Dylan did it.
because when he was in the hospital, remember, like he found out that the baby wasn't
Yeah,
his, and we thought, that one scene he was going to go over and suffocate him, but he picked him up, and you could tell that even though he's got problems and he is kind of a piece of crap, like I think deep down he did love the kid, and so yeah, I don't
yeah.
know. I just thought it was nice that he gave that money because when he took it, we thought, oh, like he took it for himself because he's a scumbag, but he ended up giving it back, so that was nice.
Yeah, and I mean, we didn't, I guess, how old was that kid again? The kid was about a year, maybe like 9 months or something. So, I mean, he did have the kid, I guess, every weekend for 9 months. So I guess there was time for the attachment to form.
Yeah, because there was like a 8 month jump in this episode, like from the conclusion of the case, I guess, to
Yeah.
the end.
Yeah, and we'll talk
So
about the
anyway,
end here in a second. Irish Power said they didn't. They wanted to burn the diaries so Jack's parents can keep the baby. Okay. There you go. Pablo says, but he had a gun and threatened her, and he didn't know about the picture. Maybe I didn't understand.
but see, I thought at that point they'd already done a DNA test and they knew that he wasn't the dad.
Yeah. Yeah, I
But I
know.
guess it was because they didn't want to find out who the real dad was, because until they did, I guess Jack's or Dylan's parents would get to keep the kid. They just wanted to like halt finding out who the baby really belonged to, I guess.
Yeah.
I
And
don't know.
Irish Bear says, yes, took the photo. That is proof who the father was. Dylan want his parents to keep the baby. Okay, so I guess maybe, so that would imply that Dylan knew that John was the father, that he had already seen that picture, maybe, and he didn't want it to get out. Is that maybe why?
Yeah, I don't know though, because I didn't think Dylan knew that the friend took the picture. I thought that that was like something only she knew.
Maybe he found out.
I don't know.
Maybe he found out somehow. But pretty much all we got is the final scene with Lori and Mare 8 months later, where she goes in and they kind of reconcile.
It looks
A little
like
bit.
they've reconciled, yeah, a little at a
You
time,
know,
probably.
a lot of hugging, a lot of falling to the floor, crying. And I know I remember what you said in this scene, and you said, well, who's there to hold Mare?
Yeah,
And I thought that was funny.
right. Because I think like right before that, we saw that's when we got to see the scene of Mare at the therapist, and she's like, do you think you're ready to address your stuff? And so yeah, she goes and she's obviously there for Lori, and like you said, I'm like, you know what? We need to see Mare like fall to the ground like that. But
Mare's just too strong for that.
I know. I guess so.
She's just too strong for that. But then I said that was the final scene. That wasn't the final scene. Was Mare going up to the attic,
Right.
and
Which we already talked about that, but
confronting her her demons, so to speak.
right.
And that's where the show concludes. So we'll get into just our final thoughts on the episode and just our final thoughts on the series in general. So out of a 5, what would you score this episode?
Ooh.
I would give it, I'll go first. I would give it a 4 out of a 5.
Okay.
I thought it was a very well executed episode. Like I said, when you look at it through the context of what this show is actually trying to do compared to what your expectations of what it should do,
Right.
delivering a compelling murder mystery, which I don't think it fully delivered on. But I do think it wrapped up a lot of things that you wanted to be wrapped up. And at the end, you felt like you had truly been on this emotional journey with this character. You
Right.
felt every ounce of that, whether it was through the writing, the directing, or just Kate Winslet's brilliant performance. I thought it executed all that stuff on a very high level. So for that, I'll give it a 4 out of a 5. It definitely wasn't perfect, but I'll give it a 4 out of a 5.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with you. I'm gonna say a 4 out of 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Just like you said, it wasn't perfect. There were some things that I didn't love. There were a lot of things that I felt like I had figured out. But I mean, overall, I still loved to watch the show each week, and I look forward to it. And like you said,
Yeah.
Kate Winslet was awesome in it, and yeah, it was still a great episode and show. So
Yeah, I'd say if we looked at this as a movie, like a 7-hour movie or 6-hour movie or however, like I think that we would look back and say that that was a really great movie.
mhm.
There's a lot of great things about it. There's some things that annoyed me about it. I'm still just annoyed by the complete glossing over of Evan Peters' character and just how inconsequential he felt by the end of it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm honestly like over that.
Yeah, you're over it because the show was over it right after it happened, and they gave you no reason to care about
Yeah, I
him as a
mean,
character anymore at all.
I guess maybe, to us, like we like him as an actor or whatever. And so I guess maybe if someone didn't know who he was, like they wouldn't really
Yeah.
care that he had died.
It just felt like the show wanted him to be more than what he ended up being.
Right.
He felt like a
Yeah.
very important part of that show for 4 episodes. But
Right. I think yeah, I think that, it was just such a short series that, some stuff had to feel a little,
Yeah.
I
But
don't know, quick.
that's really my only real problem with it. Other and the fact that they didn't really deliver on the murder mystery, it wasn't as
Right.
compelling as I wanted it to be.
It
But
was a little predictable, but
other than that, it was a pretty good show. So as a series, I would give it a 4 out of 5 as well. I would give it a 4 out of 5, just as a series across the board. Uh,
gotcha.
I don't know if do you feel the same?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'd probably do a 4 out of 5 as well if I'm comparing it to like that I have loved. Um, yeah, it's hard for me to like shows, but yeah, I'll go 4 out of 5 too.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess we are done. If anybody's got any thoughts about the show that you want to comment, we will read it in the comments section and discuss a little bit further. But we are nearing the hour mark of this live stream. So we've been talking about the finale for an hour. So yeah, lots to talk about here, though. Definitely a great discussion. I appreciate everybody that joined us. I know at one point we got to 9 people in here. We got 7 people in here now
Awesome.
watching. So if you guys can hit that like button if you're watching on the replay, because I imagine we'll have a few people that watch on the replay as well. Definitely hit the like button. Comment your thoughts, your overall thoughts on this episode, your thoughts on the series, what you would score it out of a 5. Leave all of that in the comment section. And again, if you haven't subscribed to our channel, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button. We dropped our June preview today, previewing, or the June TV movie guide, I think is what we called it, previewing everything that's going to be coming out in the month of June. Definitely some
Yes.
cool stuff coming out that we will definitely be covering on this channel. And hopefully
Right.
we'll
We've
find
got
a show that
some,
we can do more of like a week-to-week coverage of like this one in the month of June.
right. Yeah, we did, like you said, a combination of some TV shows. They're all kind of on different networks, streaming services. And then we've got some movies in there, some that are going to be able to rent, and some that you'll have to go to the theater for. So a good little mix, and give you some material to watch if you get overwhelmed and don't know what to watch,
Yeah,
because
I think
there's a lot of options.
we had all the highlights in there, I think. Pablo says, I still love the show. I still think the storyline about kidnapped girls and the episode she found them was more interesting. I didn't care about Aaron's killer and his motives for week. 8 out of 10 for me.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much where we were at. 5 out of 5, or 4 out of a 5, same as an 8 out of 10. So I'd say that. Yeah, what do you think about that? Just the fact that they set this show up to be a murder mystery, but then they inject the whole kidnapped girls in there, and then they want to make you think it's the same thing. Did you like that the show did that? Did that feel different to you?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, it's like they had the kidnapped
It felt very
girls
weird
going
and awkward.
on, and then they had the Aaron death going on, and then they had the personal life of Mare going on. And so, I mean, I personally kidnapped story. I was more invested in Aaron's killer. That was just more interesting to me.
Yeah,
And I mean, honestly, the whole kidnapped girls thing, like by the end of that too, the episode that Evan Peters dies in, um, that just kind of like abruptly ended as well. I guess because they shot the
yeah, he was
kidnapper,
dead,
but
and they move on to the next
yeah,
thing.
right. And
Yeah,
it's like, okay, now we got to wrap up this Aaron death, and
it did feel a little bit like almost like a kind of anthology within this world. Like there was that story of the kidnapper, and then there was a story of the murder, and then there was Mare's. So it all felt very kind of like every episode was a little bit different or focused on something different. So for me, I think I was more invested in the kidnapped
right.
girl stuff. That's what I thought was more
Okay.
interesting. But Irish Bell says, I like the show, but should have wrapped up in 6 episodes. Didn't need the last one. What do you think about that? You think that we should have wrapped up with Mare walking into the woods, discovering them at the stream? Maybe they could have had
Oh
that.
gosh.
Maybe they could have made the last episode 20 minutes longer, and they could have done the stream scene and then did the whole thing where they booked in John, and maybe John actually did kill Aaron. Would you have been satisfied with that ending?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. There were definitely some like side stories that I couldn't have cared any. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I did not care about them at
You
all.
couldn't have
Like
gave
her
two
daughter,
two hoots about it. Is what I
two shits.
would. You
Like
like to use
her
foul language.
daughter,
I try not to.
I'm sorry. Like her daughter Siobhan, like they were trying to do the whole like her love stories and stuff.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, I'm not,
I don't know.
just that a lot.
I didn't care about her character and those stories. And honestly, I didn't care about Mare and Guy Pearce.
Guy Pierce. Yeah.
Yeah. I told you
Richard.
every time he came
Richard's his
on
name.
that Richard, yeah. I told you every time he came on that he just reminded me of like a rat. He just had this like wispy gray hair and like
Yeah,
I
you
don't
did
know.
say
I
that.
just
Literally every time he came on the screen, you said he looked like a rat.
I'm like, come on, Mare, you can do better than that. I know
Yeah.
he was like this author or something, writer and
Very
whatever, but
distinguished,
I ain't impressed.
gentleman type. Um, but yeah,
Apparently not, because you thought he was the killer the whole time.
because he was so gentlemanly and nice. That's why I thought he was a
Right.
killer.
Right.
Pablo says the show was so good. I was expecting a darker, edgier twist, like maybe multiple characters involved in the murder scene. LOL. It was great, anyways.
Well, I
Yeah,
mean, they kind of were. There's
yeah.
like three of them, four of them if you count Lori.
I get what he was saying though. It really wasn't very dark or edgy. I mean, it was gross and disgusting and it felt wrong on a
Well,
lot of levels, but it wasn't
yeah.
dark or edgy. So it
Well,
didn't
I
feel like
know.
it started off feeling like kind of like a Fincher film, like kind of like a David Fincher murder mystery type film, and then it doesn't end up that way. It kind of pivots into
Right.
a more emotional family drama.
Well, I know, like when we were trying to figure it out, I kind of thought at one point when they started bringing in the whole family reunion thing, I was like, okay, this is really freaking gross because they're about to tell us that Aaron had got like passed around by all the cousins and they all had sex with her and they don't know who the hell the baby's daddy is.
Yeah, and you could totally see that happening in this world.
Right.
So yeah, Irish
So
Bar
yeah,
says yes.
I'm.
Go ahead. Say what you're gonna say.
I don't know. You're fine.
Said make the 6 episodes longer and drop the other junk. So he wants to drop all the stuff with the mayor resolution and her reconciling her differences with everybody. Get that the hell out of here, and then yeah, just make episode 6. I don't know. It would have been a more non-ending type of ending. You wouldn't have got any of that closure. So I don't know if I'd have been completely happy with that. I like that we got some of the resolution with Mary's character, because at the end of the day, like I said, that's what the show was about. That's what the show was about. So
Right.
I like that we got that resolution. Andrea Crespo Granda is in the house. And I'm sorry, Andrea, I cannot read that. But it looks like you
They don't have like a translator.
Down below, she says, not at all. The homicide narrative is an excuse to talk about something bigger, how the acts trigger tragedies and hit these people and their path to redemption and self-forgiveness. Very well said. Very well said, Andrea. Definitely very well said. We got our buddy Rev 4K is in the house. He says, hey.
Hello.
And then he says the finale was good and show was great overall. So this was something that Rev 4K actually enjoyed. So I am shocked and very happy that he liked this show. But yeah, definitely overall, like the show was, I would say, I don't know if I could say great. I could say it's very good. Like I said, 4 out of 5. I give it a 4 out of 5 for the overall show. I did have problems with it. But yeah, if nobody else has anything in the chat, we're going to go ahead and get off this stream, close it down. We've been going for over an hour talking about Mare of Easttown. If you're just now joining us, go back and watch the replay, the entire discussion. And again, if you guys haven't seen the episode yet, watch the episode and then come back and watch the entire discussion. It's definitely a good discussion talking about Mare of Easttown tonight. Uh-oh, are you there?
I'm here now.
Oh, did you get frozen out?
Yeah, it started to spin.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm glad you got to come back to help me wrap up the show. Do you have anything to say before we close out this
It's
stream?
those kids on Fortnite, probably. They're using all of our internet.
Damn kids. Damn kids.
No, this, I would recommend this show to anyone, even so, as like you said, I would say that it was a very good show. Not fantastic, not great. I mean, I would say that about Kate, Kate's performance.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a very good show. Definitely enjoyed it. Definitely look forward to it each week. Start watching and get excited about spinning again. Are you there?
Yeah, you're there. I can hear you.
Okay, so yeah, that's all I gotta say. We better get off here before we lose it completely.
I know. So yeah, appreciate everybody joining us here tonight. Again, like I said, subscribe, like this video, comment down below your thoughts on Mare of Easttown, the finale, the entire season. What did you think of Kate Winslet's performance? Anything you want to comment down below, let us know. But yeah, we are done, guys, and we will see you all later.